we learned how to build at an early age. Like we were in 9th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. We learned how to build with Bob. And Builder Bob taught us how to build some houses. A friend of the family, his name was Bob Linsenbach. He used to live at my parents' house, and then he used to build some houses. He was a home builder, but he would build the house. Sometimes it would take him a year or two to build the house. So he would go live in the house. Once he got a little bit of the house done, he would live in the corner of it with no roof. And then every once in a while, our parents would go just drop us off at Bob's house to go work on his house. And Bob was old school, so we were hammering nails. We weren't nail guns. And I remember if we were roofing the house and we lost a nail, and the nail would go off the roof, you would have to go find it, you know. And Bob didn't want the tractor to get the hole in the tire, so he would lose his freaking mind if we couldn't find that nail. I mean, you better off just find a nail, like have a nail in your pocket, say, I found it. It's not the nail. I found it. Because he would lose his mind. And Bob was not an alcohol drinker. He was a Tab drinker. Do you know what Tab is? Well, it's like an old soda. Like it was called Tab, T-A-B. And we would have to go to the store and get a soda called Tab. That's how Bob relieved his stress. And he would be cursing and swearing, driving us to this thing, and it would wreck his whole day. But we learned how to build at an early age. Like we were in 9th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. We learned how to build with Bob. And Builder Bob taught us how to build some houses. And then my dad and my dad would build a house in the summer. He would buy a lot up the road from the house, and we would build it. And we would go up there. I remember the first one we did, it was so long ago, I was probably in middle school. We built the house. It would take us a long time to build the house too. Like nowadays we build a house, we're in 4 or 5 months, we're in and we're out. My dad would take like a year to build the house. And I remember we had the house all done, and normally you would do the concrete in the basement of the house, like before you even do the house, but we hadn't done it yet. So we had mounds of stone, mounds of dirt in there. We were in there with an old skid loader, like a crappy old skid. We might have even rented it from Kruger's Rental. But we had no idea what we were doing. And I don't know if my dad did either. So we were in there like getting it around, you know, eventually get a concrete done. I think he ended up selling the house for like $100,000. I don't even know if my dad knows if he made money. I don't know. My dad wasn't detailed. He just kind of did stuff. Fast forward, I remember another year we were in one development over, we were building another house. It was a 2-story house. And I think this was the summer of 11th grade year. My brother and I are over there framing. Our dad's not with us. We're just over there framing it. We don't know what we're doing, okay? We have framed a couple houses with Bob, Builder Bob, but now we're over here doing our own house. And we would build a wall, put it up, kind of straighten it. We knew what we were doing. We set the trusses. You know, you set trusses. It was a 2-story house, and we had all the trusses set. And, you know, I'm like, we need to get the plywood up there beforehand. And I saw where someone would crane the plywood up on the trusses before they even sheeted it all in to save time, because we didn't have a pettibone or a lift. So we would put the plywood up there, and the next day we were over there and we're like, crap, we didn't straighten the truss right. So my brother had to knock the truss up. We had to knock the board off the truss to straighten the truss. We put all this plywood up there, all this weight up here, and we have these trusses just kind of like flimsily braced, and we had to unbrace it to straighten it. You know what happened? They all fell down. Whole entire truss system. My brother Justin did not get down through the trusses. He broke his leg. So, you know, we learned a little bit. On this same house, my dad did not support the foundation wall very good, and the back wall of the house was cement blocks. And after the house was under roof the second time, sure enough, rain came along the back of the house and the whole foundation of the house busted in. So that house, for my dad, probably was not a profitable one. So those are 2 things I remember doing with my dad. And we learned from Bob, the builder. And that was a cool way to get into it. And, you know, we built a house a summer when we were in high school, going through high school and maybe into college a little bit. And I don't know, my dad owned the land, so I think he made a little money on the land. But then getting out of college, I started to become a builder. After we got figured out a year or 2 out of college, I started building some houses with my dad. He would get the loan and I would go build them. I was much better at it because I learned how to do it. Then I met a framing guy named Brett who really taught me how to frame a house the right way. So I got the framing part down, you know, building with a real builder. And man, we were framing a house in 2 weeks. We were done. And we had 5, 6 guys on the crew. It was much different from when we were doing it just my brothers and I, who had no idea what we were doing. Eventually we got a petty bone. Eventually we got faster at doing it. At one point we were building 20 houses in 1 year. So we got it down to a system. My brother was in the excavating side of things. So he had all the excavating equipment. He was, had his own employees. He was doing that. I had my employees for the construction, and things were booming. We were putting really nice cabinets and really nice windows and really nice everything in the house back when the houses would sell no matter what you put in them. So we were almost putting too nice of things in houses back then, and because they were selling anyway. But it was fun. We did reputable houses, and they're selling really. When they sell nowadays, the people paid $180 for a house, and now they're selling for $280 or $330. I mean, they're making a lot of money on the houses they bought from us. We did make mistakes along the way. We weren't perfect, but as we went along, we got better, and we did better as we went along. So I figure the houses we made later in life were better than the ones early in life, and that getting us building real estate, understanding how real estate works, allowed us to buy real estate, figure out how to own it, how to manage it, how to deal with it, deal with contractors, and kind of fast forward, that's how we own 800 rental properties today, is because of that mindset. And we can do anything that anyone else can do. There's nothing we can't do.